This is where the fun begins.
It is settled then. My wealth will fund the rebellion while Garm provides our fleet and Mon Mothma our soldiers.
An elegant weapon for a more civilized age.
Are you sure? So be it.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome to CAF Chat. I am your host, Alora, and man, we are going to switch gears. And I just realized I don't have my mic. I left it in my my little yoga room studio because I did do a recording in there. So hopefully you guys can hear me. I'm going off the laptop mic. But anyways, we're getting into we are switching gears. We are going to get into the formation of the Alliance to Restore the Republic, basically the Rebel Alliance. Why not? Because, you know, Andor, Disney's faux lore, had just came out this last Tuesday. And why not cover the real lore on how the Rebel Alliance was formed, who was all involved, what it was about, especially according to George Lucas. So there's going to be tons of information given out to you guys, as well as lore talk. So feel free to join in this conversation and add to, because I can give you information, but there might be things I'm missing or points that I'm missing that maybe you can lend to the conversation. That's what this is about. This is what CAF Chat's about. And oh my fucking God, you guys, since Andor came out and, you know, like people started going fucking nuts over a fucking nothing burger. So we're going to get into what Gilroy said about Andor, and that will probably get into what's going on with how everybody is getting so dramatic over a scene that was basically a nothing burger. Nothing happened in the scene. And then also showing how quickly they will disregard the lore to fit their fucking narrative. And these people, some people that I have that they're supposed to be mutuals with me and stuff, will use the EU to defend like Luke and how he was treated and how he's really supposed to be in the lore based upon George Lucas era of Star Wars. But then, and then also too with the yellow lightsaber, you know, I have pointed out when they started first using the yellow lightsaber, like with Rey, I guess you could say, or with Luke using it in a comic book. I even pointed out, yeah, the yellow lightsaber was used before. So, you know, I have always shared what was used previously that they are bringing in somehow, some way. And I did the same with this, and I shared scenes and I cited them regarding the sexual assault or whatever they want to call it. And they just blew their minds. Like, I'm defending Andor, or I'm defending that type of act and stuff. No, I'm just sharing it was done before, because a lot of people are like, this has never been done in Star Wars before, right? this has never been, and George would not allow this, and blah blah blah. Well, it has been done in Star Wars before, and that's my point. um it's kind of freaking crazy. Like, it feels like I'm defending Andor, and stuff like that, but in reality, I'm just sharing that it's been done before, and it's always good to have your facts when you're going to claim something that it's never been done before. If the people that you are countering knows the lore, and you say it's never been done before, they're going to put that shit back on you. Well, it has been done. And so I am like basically saying, hey, dudes, look at this. It's been done before. So make sure you have your facts in front of you before you claim something, right? And they just lost their shits. But it's so fucking crazy. It's like, even shills are getting so fucking confused because my stance, it's like, it's a nothing burger. It's been done before. The scene was just basically her fighting him off, basically a fight scene. And so these shills are like, oh my God, I'm fucking agreeing with you. So the shills are also going crazy with me because they don't want to agree with the boogeyman. They don't want to agree with the OG Star Wars, right? They don't want to agree with me. But lo and behold, they basically were. And so it's been a very odd day yesterday. But anyways, we'll get more into that later. So first of all, we're going over the lore, the Alliance to Restore the Republic, aka the Rebel Alliance. And we are going to, talk about that, talk about the dark themes in Star Wars and what you have noticed with the dark themes. We'll get into some of that talk. Why not? Because the Alliance to Restore the Republic is based upon dark times, and a lot of shit happened between Revenge of the Sith and A New Hope. And mind you, sad enough, we didn't get a lot of expansion and stories between that timeline. We did get some, but not much. So that's one of the big gaps that needed to be focused on. But the buyout happened, right? And now everybody, the world has Disney full lore, and that's including Andor. So anyways, we'll get into that. And then we'll also get into a fun game. In fact, I want to do it here pretty soon. And if you guys are into it, so Andor basically did rock, paper, scissors as part of a figuring something out game. You know how you use rock, paper, scissors to settle something? So they did rock, paper, scissors in Andor. And so I thought it'd be fun just to mock it and just have some good time about it. That maybe we play rock, paper, scissors, if you guys want to do that. And then whoever is the last one standing, I'll be glad to get your information from you through email. And I will send you a copy of the Anakin Skywalker, or basically Darth Vader, painting that I did. It's still drying, so I can't go and make copies of it right now. I still have to varnish it. I could do that if you guys want to do that and have some fun. So let's go see. Let's see who is in the chat. And of course, cringe factor. Cringe factor. What did Tony Gilroy have to say regarding that controversial scene? What did he have to say? We'll get into that too as well. And since yesterday, I have been given like crazy sex memes of like a cosplay of Leia giving head to someone that's dressed up as Vader and stuff, literally dick out and everything. Yes. And then other people have been saying shit to me and stuff like that. It was fucking crazy yesterday. I don't know what the hell, but all that shit happened. So let's see who's in the chat. I am Inquisitor. So this is it. We're rock, paper, scissors going to save Star Wars people. Good morning. And yes, smash the like button. I have 38 beautiful souls watching. Thank you so much for tuning in. And Soul Assassin says, I usually have something funny to say, but OG showed me a clip from Andor, and it sucks the humor right out of me. Shared with him a scene from, I guess, that wedding or whatever it was, and I was making fun of the music. And I think I shared it with Scran and them too. and he was like, I was hoping that Gijor, whatever, however you pronounce his name, and someone from the Black Sun or something would go in there and just have taken them all out. Big old murder scene. Yes, check out my merch. Follow me on Twitter because that's where you'll find a lot of engagement there with pertaining to my anti-Disney Star Wars stance. Yes, I do have that, and I'm not ashamed to say that. Really, I'm not, because Disney Star Wars is not fucking Star Wars, right? It's not the true lore, and no matter how much they want to, coax you into believing it, brainwash you or whatever, it's not. Star Wars true lore is what was made and sanctioned under George Lucas, and it always be that way. All right. So Iron says it was hand movements of the game in the show. Basically, it was the game. And of course, Conrado, he will never forget about the talk about the Dathomirian witches and their clans, the Scissor Fist. And he's gonna always take advantage of that, and I get it. It's fun. And it's funny, Star Wars series getting dogpiled by all sides, and all I did was like, dude. And I was telling this to everybody, dude, it's been in Star Wars before. And a lot of people are like, well, the EU is just secondary and the films is all that matters. And these are people who have used the EU to defend Luke Skywalker when they destroyed his character in the Disney trilogy. So I don't fucking get it. It's like it's only usable when it fits a narrative that they're talking about. And I think it has exposed a lot of shit. It has exposed a lot of people and really opened my eyes to where they stand, basically. Mind you, I'm not saying anybody stands for rape or anything. Oh shit, I said it. Oh well. And someone sharing that it happened before, like scenarios like that happened before in Star Wars, doesn't mean that like I stand for it or all of that, but it's happened in the lore. And was it bad? Yes. Was there a story behind it that built up and a meaning behind them? Yes. So it's so fucking crazy. It's like it exposed a lot of people, like regarding what they really think about Star Wars in its lore. It has. And in reality, like I said, this is a nothing burger, because basically it's just a fight scene of him trying to impose himself on her and her fight him off, right? Nothing really happened. It wasn't rape. It wasn't. And they are ignoring all the ham-fisted modern day politics that were put in even that scene and what happened around that scene. People are ignoring that. They're so fixated on that. They're not seeing what was really going on. All right, let me go ahead and move on from that. Too bad she's not Scissor Fist. Oh my God, I am not going to read that now. Audible sounds all right. Thank you. I might play Matt Wilkins' 5-minute little EU video and go grab my mic because it's just right in the next room. But let me get through all of you guys and say hello and see what you guys are saying, because that is like me interacting with you guys is also what CAF Chat's about. Talking lore, interacting regarding the lore, saying hello, establishing our little community here. That's what we're about. And even if we don't agree with each other, that's fine. I'm not saying that we're even a fucking echo chamber. That's okay. I made it. Hello, everyone. Hit the like. Thank you so much, Scran. Welcome. And people losing their minds. Yeah, they're losing their minds. What theory is going through now is restitution. Did you see his 8-minute video and stuff? He's like, I'm not watching Andor anymore, and I'm going to go back to the lore. And he admitted he hasn't read the EU really. And like I've been saying, but like his followers, his cultist followers, or whatever you want to call them, they were fucking going after me too. Holy shit. And they were saying some crazy shit to me too. But anyways, that's beside the story. Yeah, he admitted, and his followers will defend and say, no, he knows all Star Wars. He knows it all. But he has admitted on that video today, and he's admitted it before, that he really doesn't know the lore. Like, he doesn't know the EU. He hasn't read all of it. And he's also said, oh, my speciality is basically the 6 movies, George Lucas stuff and whatever. And mind you, he's a normie. Normies are people who only focus on the movies, which is fine, right? Which is fine. But don't pretend you are this person who knows it all the lore, and tries to impose that on people. And then you know, just don't do that shit. Don't do that fucking shit. All right. Anyways, I'm gonna go on with that. So good afternoon, everyone. Hello, Lucas Gerson. That book sucked. Yeah, he said basically, what was it? Vector Prime was too slow, it sucked, or something like that. What does Chandrella look like in Legends? Luke in Legends. Let's see here. I'm not going to pull up Chandrilla. So, hello. What did I miss? Nothing much, really. Just a little rant, me saying hello and what the show is going to be today. Hello, Diddly Squat and Mr. Dystopian. They can no longer use the BS. It's movie about space wizards intended for children to defend Disney shit writing. Exactly. But the thing is, one thing, and I'm not trying to defend anybody here, these chills have always been saying Andor is for adults. So we have that, but they switch their rhetoric all the time to fit their narrative too, right? That's what they do. That's what they do. Quiet Drawer says Vader wouldn't tolerate that theory, falling off the cliff big time. Yeah, it's like they use the Empire, like him and some people use like Vader and the Emperor as some kind of moral compass for to defend or to talk against Andor and that decision of showing a woman fighting off a guy, right? It's like they used Vader for a moral compass. Really? You know, when in fact, you know, we really wouldn't know if Vader would, but I wouldn't be surprised if he just overlooked it. Just like he's supposed to be against slavery, but he, you know, basically captured and enslaved Wookiees right after Revenge of the Sith. And this is in Dark Lord, Rise of Darth Vader. So there's that. Let's see here. They did rock, paper, scissors. Did they at least change it to something else? I was looking it up and they have something like lizard, snake, something. I don't know. So, but the motion was rock, paper, scissors from what I am told. So it's kind of funny. Let's see here. Get your rock, paper, scissors ready. The prize is pretty cool. Yeah, I got to spin the wheel and I'll go over that. We'll have a little fun. So we might go over 11 or 2 hours. We'll see. I do want to get out of here and go visit my friend before she goes to work and then run to the bank. But that's just, if it doesn't happen, if we end late, then it's just not going to happen. Let's see here. What? I don't know what that's about. Rock, paper, and scissors. What did I miss? Laugh out loud. Andor plays like there's a game in Star Wars, rock, paper, scissors. It could be called something else, mind you. I don't know. And I didn't really research it really yet. But I thought it was funny. And it'd be a fun game to play here just to make fun of that. They put that in Andor. I saw that Leia Vader clip. I hate the world so much. I'm sorry to subjugate you on that. And also Scran and Purist and Darth Luke. And I think I shared it in another group too. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry, but I had to. Yeah. After the guard saying shit, I doubt nothing about that show, right? Star Wars is dead, in my opinion. Maybe I'm just cynical and older now, but I'm actually more interested in alien and predator lore. Don't get me wrong, Star Wars still has a place in my heart. Star Wars, I would say Disney Star Wars, dead. Star Wars pre-Disney, we keep it alive here. That's why you're here. So that is not dead. I like Andor. Well, awesome. I'm glad you do. Andors. Let's see here. The main character is so big, boring. They rebel, or they relabel it as an ensemble cast with multiple protagonists stealing limited screen time. Let's see here. Narrow Dark. The rock, paper, scissors game was kind of interesting. Really? And I still love the behind the scenes Star Wars A New Hope. Yeah, that's some fun stuff to watch right there. And okay, so you guys, before I start getting going on with our Lucas facts and our book of the week, so this Sunday, and I have to make the link. I'm sorry, I didn't make the link yet. Channel members, if you are not a channel member, get on it. We are going to have the last listen party for Dark Forces Jedi, Jedi Night. So get on with the membership. It is going to be this Sunday at 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. I pushed it back from 7:30 to 6. I had people vote, and it was 6:30. So I was like, you know what? I'll push it back a half an hour more. So 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, United States Pacific Standard Time, basically. So if you are able, channel member, I allow my mobs, I send them the link to come in because that's just a way of me giving back for their time, spending here and monitoring and contributing to CAF chat and my other lives that I do. So get on the ball and become a member. And I already do have a new channel member. I will check it out. I will bring that up. And let's see here. Am I missing anything else on here? Where is it at? You know it's bad when you have to defend Disney. Rock, paper, scissors littered Spock. And here we go. Here we have Silver Org became a channel member. Thank you so much for joining. And yes, you have these wonderful emojis that I think I have 3 new ones on there, 3 or 4 new ones on there. So take advantage of that. Very much pre-Disney stuff. Basically, it's so George Lucas era. Have fun with it, with some of my, channel stuff like CAF chat, what have you. Do you think Theory will read this book of the week as well? Oh, that's the thing. So he said that he's read that, what was it called again? Legacy of the Jedi or Secrets of the Jedi? One of those. Legacy of the Jedi, that one. And basically he said that he was finishing reading that, or he had just finished it. And that was book of the week last week. So is it a coincidence that he picked it up because I shared it as a book of the week? I don't think he knows. Like these scholastic books, I'm pretty sure he does not know about them whatsoever. He barely knew about New Jedi Order and all of them until recently when we started talking about them and started sharing and stuff. And yes, he's the one that really got us into like, okay, let's go ahead and bring New Jedi Order out to the forefront, basically, and we created this renaissance of New Jedi Order lore here on YouTube and also on social media like Twitter. I don't think it's a coincidence whatsoever. Which is fine. If my book of the week inspires someone to pick up the book and read and explore it, that is what it's all about. That is what it's all about. Let me go ahead and go grab my mic, and I'm going to play this while I grab my mic. So this is only a 2-minute one. So I thought it was like close to 5, but I'm wrong. So let me go grab my mic and get that plugged in and taken care of, and I'll be right back with you guys.
Someone asked me to give the best reason why someone should read the Expanded Universe. After giving it a lot of thought, here's what I have to say. The Expanded Universe respects the reader. In the Expanded Universe, Luke Skywalker's optimism continues where it left off in Return of the Jedi. He's fulfilled hope to the galaxy, just like Obi-Wan said he would, not like the Disney movies where he gave up on the Jedi or even the whole galaxy for that matter. The character you see in those movies is not Luke. Luke isn't a quitter. He's not a pessimist. He's a leader. He's inspirational. And he's always there for his friends in times of need. Another character is Han Solo. He's introduced to us in A New Hope as a loner, a man who cares only for himself and nobody else. But by the end of Return of the Jedi, that all turns around when he finally finds friends he can trust and a true love to spend the rest of his life with. And that's exactly what he does in the Expanded Universe. Han is a devoted husband and father to Leia and their kids. He loves his family above all else. In the new movies, Han turns out to be a selfish deadbeat dad who ran out on his family when things get tough. It's a complete 180 from the character that we saw from Return of the Jedi. Now, another thing the EU does is it rewards its readers. Attention to detail when it comes to continuity has never been done at such a level as when it was performed by the Expanded Universe. Avid readers will constantly be rewarded for their diligence as comics, novels, video games, and even children's books share connections throughout the entire series, making it almost a flawless, continuous story. And though it has its minor flaws, it's still the best overall story and continuity out there, period. That's what the EU does. It respects and rewards its readers. And that's the best reason you should give it a try. Long live the Expanded Universe.
All right. So I got the mic and I think it's okay now. I think I got it all set up and stuff. So that was cool. So Matt Wilkins, great video. Thank you again for allowing me to have this. And, you know, it's a great reminder that Star Wars is more than just the movies, right? Star Wars lore, it is one continuous timeline, a historical timeline that expands on the lore. And so this is why I don't get why people will pick and choose when and where they want to use the EU to defend and talk against Disney Star Wars. It's like, be fucking consistent here. Rather, if you're not going to agree with it, then don't use it, even when you're defending Luke Skywalker, right? You know, I'd rather, you know, talk and debate with someone who's going to be consistent on their stance than someone who's just going to pick and choose when and where they think they're going to use the EU or basically the Star Wars lore. And one thing that is really crazy, and I'm going to get on this little rant here, is that they're like, oh, you know, it's only about the movies for me, blah, blah, blah. But then we'll like use the EU to defend, like, again, Luke, like I said, we'll stay consistent and just keep using that. And it's all George Lucas's stuff, blah, 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 blah. Well, in reality, if they really know or knew the lore, they would know how much the prequel trilogy used and was based on and in synergy with the expanded universe. Yes, George understood the ecosystem, right? And when the special editions came out, George did use EU for that as well. And he also sat and talked with the authors that wrote books around the PT movies to keep it all in sync, the synergy going, the continuity. And so when people decide to use, oh, well, pick and choose when the EU is convenient to be used in defense and debate, they don't realize that. And so again, it's just exposing. It's just exposing. That's all I got to say. It's just exposing them. So let's get into this. All right. So we're going to get into Lucas Fact first. And I am so excited about this book, Lucas Facts and Book of the Week, and what it all means. You will find out what OG rant. Yes, OG rant. I'm going to have a lot of them today. It's great to know, to sync the book with Lucas Fact. And I found another one last week. I did it, and this week too. So here, let's check it out. I forgot to do this, but let's go ahead and play it anyways.
That's great.
It's going to be great.
That's going to be great.
It's going to be great.
That's going to be great.
All right. Let me see, making sure I am here with you guys. Can you hear me? I'm always scared when I use OG rant over. All right. George Lucas approved The Rise of the Rebellion, which included the Corellian Treaty and all events surrounding those events. So all the events that surround the formation of the Alliance to Restore the Republic. And mind you, that also includes, which is in the novelization, the meeting of those who were basically that formed the delegation of 2000. So it includes all of that. He had authors use sources like Weston Games to expand on the lore. And so, Zahn is one of them. And he also refers back to the rebellion, the rise of the rebellion, basically. He refers back to that and stuff. So sources, art and making of The Force Unleashed and Star Wars Rebel Alliance. There's another source I forgot to put on here. I re-edit this and share this later. So this right here goes in sync with our lore topic we're doing here today. And let me go ahead and bring this up with the book of the week. So let's go ahead and get into our favorite clip that I've made. Everybody loves.
I hate to say it, but it looks like
Story.
the item you're searching for doesn't exist.
Impossible. Perhaps the archives are incomplete.
If an item does not appear in our records, it does not exist.
All right. So what is the book of the week? And why not just bring it up here? It is Weston Games Star Wars Rebel Alliance source book, which I have been using to bring and to fix or put up or can't even find the fucking right word, to put together my PowerPoint for our conversation on the Alliance to Restore the Republic. So great source book here. I believe there's 2 editions to this. I think, if I'm wrong or not, please correct me, confirm. But I do have the first one. I do have the first edition here. To be honest, I agree with theory on what happened in Andor, just for a different reason. I'm guessing that's what you're saying. Less of a moral issue and more of it's done in an insulting manner that I wonder if it's the showrunner's fetish. Did you watch Jim the Despot? I understand, and I'm not saying that you shouldn't like it or you should. But those themes were already in Star Wars. And there was no rape scene in Andor. It was just a fight scene. She was fighting him off. It was just a fight scene. So I think people are blowing it out of proportion and acting like it's a full-on rape scene, and it's not. I'm just going to get my channel taken down with all this talk. Y'all hear the sass coming, Jocasta's voice for after Kenobi's comment. Damn, Kenobi, watch out. Right. Jocasta. Right. Jocasta. There you go. And so basically, let's get back to this here. Author Paul Murphy, cover art is basically Lucasfilm. It's from the movie Empire Strikes Back. Illustrators. So there's a big line of illustrators. If you have a chance to go through and look at all the information in there, the illustrations, all of that, pretty cool. And you'll see some of it in the PowerPoint. Rosaria J. Baldari, Stephen Crane, Jacqueline M. Evans, Richard Hallrun, Kathleen Hunter, Rob Coswell, David D. Dietrich, Carrie Martian is that Martian, and Alan Nunes. The publication was not May 2006. Holy crap. I need to go back and correct that. But the publication's not May 2006. I forgot to change that from the last CAF chat. I thought I did, but it was back in 1990. Yeah, because it was before or it was like 1990 or before then. So that's an error on my part. Damn it. I thought I changed it. It must have been I don't know. But anyways, so that's wrong on my end. I apologize. Let's see here. And let's see here. Richard Quinn, I would like to live in a world without Disney shills because Disney shills ruin everything. It's quite amusing. They amuse the fuck out of me sometimes because these guys get so triggered. I can just post something simple and they just go off. It's so fucking crazy. But you know what? The difference between me and probably a lot of you and them is that they can come at me and come at the EU with all the fucking, and even George Lucas era, because when I talk about EU, it's not just the books and stuff. I'm also, I'm talking about Star Wars in general, and that's including the movies. But when they come after basically the EU, because that's what they like to target more than anything else, I do have people that target George and the movies. When they come after that, it's telling and quite amusing, and that's all they have, because what they're proving is that their shit sucks because they have to come tear down this. But with that being said, when they do that, it doesn't change my mind. It doesn't discourage me. It doesn't mean, oh, well, you're hating on it, so it's ruining my love for it. No. Because I know how to I can't even see. I know how to distinguish between. I can discern between the two. But anyways, let's go on. I don't like Disney shows. Yeah. They're fun to troll, and I will troll the fuck out of some of them, especially when they start getting all heated about me and what I have to say, and when they say the stupidest things that they try to tear me down and stuff. I will throw that back at them. So there's times, and I know Scran, everybody here, Soul Assassin, will see me go after one, and I'm relentless at times because I'm exposing the shit out of them. I don't like Disney shows. They're coarse, rough, and irritating. They get and they get everything. You mean they don't get everything? Just laugh at the shills and anti-EU people. They sometimes get creative with their insults sometimes. And man, so Soul Assassin just shared something simple, and I forgot exactly what it was now. And they went after him too. And it was just a simple comment of something. And so Soul Assassin, you're going to have to tell me again what it is. I've been through a lot yesterday and I'm not recalling what exactly that was about again. But they I guess it was a boring day for them. And so they decided to go after him. So that's crazy. That is crazy. All right. So this right here, it came out, publication came out in 2000 or something like that. So I apologize for that. I thought I had changed that, and I guess I failed. Wah, wah, wah. But it is what it is. So what do you guys know about the formation of the Rebel Alliance? You guys want to share in the chat before I bring up the slide? So let's see here. Do I have anything? And I forgot to play this.
CAF. Lots of it. For me and for the Ready Room. I have a feeling this mission is not one we can fly in our sleep.
I try to remember to play that right after the intro was done. And then for cringe factor and stuff too, because that is so fucking cool. That is a cool clip that came from the X-Wing series. Let's see here. I posted the real-time Darth Talon. That's right. Darth Talon existed and Shills lost their shit. I don't reply because I just thought it was funny how they got so butthurt over it. And it must have been a slow day or whatever. But man, yeah, that's the one. I was like, what the hell did he post? But oh, blast I meant everywhere. Oh, okay, I get it now. I was almost gonna read it that way, but I wasn't sure, so I added my own take to it. So, but both work, right? Both work. We were kind of in the same mind frame in a sense. It's very good. Let's see here. I don't know what is very good, but yeah, I thought it was the formation of the Rebel Alliance. Is that what you mean? Silver says I thought that was older, January 1990. Yeah, and I'm sorry, I keep on saying 2000 and shit. It's 1990. Oh my fucking god, let me get with it, you guys. I need some more CAF. I really do. I need this. Well, where did it go? Where did my clip go? It's all the way on the bottom.
CAF. Lots of it. For me and for the Ready Room. I have a feeling this mission is not one we can fly in our sleep.
What's up? Hey, everybody. Good early morning from Hong Kong. Well, good early morning to you, Keely. How are you doing? We are getting ready to talk lore. So we're getting into the formation of the Alliance to the Restore the Republic, aka the Rebel Alliance. It was planned early on, even if it finally did come together much later during the events of The Force Awakens. Bale and others were much more involved in the shadows than the Disney Star Wars has shown. Yes, exactly. And I think that, some people don't care for The Force Unleashed because of Star Killer and Vader having an apprentice. I mean, I've seen it all. But at least this was something where it can tie together a little more about the formation of the Rebel Alliance because it wasn't done yet. We knew it was formed by the time we seen it in A New Hope, obviously, but we didn't know the circumstances. And another novel that kind of gets into it, or I would say trilogy, is a Han Solo trilogy with Bria Theron or whatever her name is, Thalen or whatever her name is. And she talks about forming the alliance, and she was under, and we'll go over this, and I'll show you exactly what I'm talking about once we get there. She was under the Corellian Resistance Group. So she was under that group. And that group was led by Garm Bill Iblis. So we have that. And, when Rebel Dawn finally happens in the trilogy, she's already part of the alliance. She helps with retrieving our beaming over the Death Star plans that were the remaining Death Star plans that they're looking for. Because the Death Star plans wasn't just one single piece of plans, I guess you could say. They were split up to multiple places because they knew, they got wind that these rebels were planning on taking them, I guess you could say. So I'm being very, very concise and to the point with this. I'm not, sharing exactly all the events around the Death Star plans, but we know also too, Kyle Katarn and Januars is another group that got the plans as well. So people are trying to say, oh, well, stealing the Death Star plans was very inconsistent because they had different events and stuff. Well, you could say, and that when they started expanding on how the Death Star plans were being retrieved or stolen by the rebel groups, they needed to make sure they maintain continuity. So they end up making it different factions, which makes sense because why would you keep something so vital and crucial together in one area to be taken if you knew that these rebel groups were trying to steal the plans? But also too, when you're creating such a big, huge station, there's going to be various places where pieces are like big pieces of the I'm sounding so generic of the Death Star is going to be manufactured, right? So you need to have those plans for that area and those pieces, those diagnostic pieces that are being made with the group, the manufacturers that are making it, right? So it also makes sense for that. I'm, like I said, I'm being very generic sounding on that. Let's see here. You can go to voicemail and so on and so forth. Hey, Purist, how are you doing? Darth Purist burned down the Ghost Riders' houses. Apparently, they got Mrs. Dash. Oh, you see. Oh my God, I'm glad I shared that video with you. And yeah, so I can't wait to see what you have to say about it. Let's see here. Burn the midnight oil. Just finished my first CAF. Did you see a certain small YouTubers list video? Last video? Yeah. Let's see here. OG DMG, the first dinner meeting between Mon Mothma and Akbar. All right, let me go ahead and pull that up. I would love to share that as well. So I'll have that ready because if I probably don't have that on my PowerPoint. It's a video. Okay. Let me see here. Oh my God. Oh my God, this is this is funny. Okay, I see what you did there. I see. Let's see here. Let's see here. There were up to 5 pieces of the Death Star plans. There was Death Star 1 plans. It was a concerted effort as part of the Operation Skyhook, correct? And I'm not specifically talking about the Death Star plans here. We're talking about the formation, but that is I would say that even before the Rebel Alliance fully formed, they were still like there are factions of groups still linked together, retrieving those plans. It could be still within the formation time. I have to look it up. So someone correct me because I might be getting dates wrong. Maybe they formed early, but my guess is they were forming during the time. No, I believe that they found out about the Death Star after they formed. So yeah, see, look at it. There's so much going on there in the time frame because it happened in secret and stuff, and they were forming. They were uniting all these resistance, all these resistant groups. And OG been killing it on the true formation of the Rebel or the Republic lore. A great way to show the retardation of Ambor. That being said, this fake outrage over a not grape is pathetic. I agree, and I talked about that earlier, and we'll get into it some more. And I also pointed out, Purist, how this is revealing people who have used the EU to defend Luke against how he was created in the Disney trilogy. They use the EU to say, oh, well, he was never that way. But now they're going to pick and choose how to use the EU according to their narrative. Very, very revealing towards that. And I will continue to talk about that. And you'll probably hear me repeat that later on in the show. Let's see here. It was Starkiller sacrifice that united all the factions together. And the rebels getting the Death Star plans was a true hassle in the EU. Yes, there was a lot going on there. Like when you look into it further, and we're gonna have to, since Andor, and I'm not gonna pause New Jedi Order a lot because I want to get through that because how I'm doing it is I'm going through the events during the time frames. So there's a lot going on. There's a lot to cover with New Jedi Order. So, but I do want to go over the Death Star, how the Death Star plans were retrieved, all the factions involved in Skyhook, all of that. And so maybe that'll be towards the end of Andor's show that we'll come back and revisit the retrieval, the stealing of the Death Star plans, Operation Skyhook, all of that. So I'll comprise and put that all together. But I don't want to pause New Jedi Order again like too many times because there's a lot that we are discussing and getting through. And so I don't want to stall that as well. But I think discussing the Death Star is something that needs to be approached when Andor starts coming to a conclusion, or Ambor, because it's supposed to be the prequel to Rogue One. right? So we'll get into that. Let's see here. Lucas Gerson, EU is apparently self-service to shills. They pick and choose whatever they want and ignore what they don't like and or don't understand. And I'm not just talking about shills. I'm talking those who are on our side, who are in this culture war, that don't like Disney Star Wars. But the thing is they're defending Disney Star Wars too, in a way. They don't realize that. And like I said, me pointing out and others pointing out that this has happened, this dark theme has happened before in Star Wars, is not in defend of. It's giving you information so that you can be smart on your arguments. And even if you didn't like it then, that's fine. But it did happen. But don't act like it never happened at all. When someone, and then don't fucking gaslight them either, because someone's giving you that information so that you have that arsenal in front of you, right? That the facts in front of you. I'm not here to say you're wrong. I'm here to give you information so you can use. And people take offense to that, I guess. I don't know. I have no idea. Some of the EU fans did the same indeed. Yeah. Andor is not Star Wars. I agree. Leia's near assault by Xijor is one of the most harrowing parts of the EU for me. That's great. And that's the thing that, like, did you read the EU? Like, or if you're just a George, or no, I'm going to say it, if you're just because George Lucas is the EU too. He helped create it, sanction it. Everything was approved through him and through those people that he brought in. If he couldn't fully focus on it, what have you. Star Wars pre-Disney is his. Like, he's not separate from anything within his own company, within the franchise, right? So I don't understand why people think he is. And so they're using these anti-EU, anti-George Lucas era narratives. It's so fucking weird, but it's exposing. And so I'm sitting back watching the exposure, watching them go at it. Go for it. Just reveal yourself. Let me know exactly what you're doing, because if you're here to fight this quote unquote culture war, you would use all arsenal that is pre-Disney that you can. You get what I'm saying? Anyways, let's get into this lore here. Let's get into this. All right. So you guys recognize the crest here. And these are the big four. These, and I think Akbar is overlooked significantly because of his circumstances during the time in the formation of the Alliance to Restore the Republic. He was a slave during that time. So basically, he was Tarkin's valet person, basically. He had ways to communicate out. So he took advantage of the situation he was in and learned the ins and outs of the Empire, but more so the military. And he reported that back to them. We have about 71 beautiful souls here. Thank you for watching. If you're watching on Twitter, thank you so much. Come over on this side. If you comment over there, I can't see it. I don't have another screen up. But if you come over here and get in the chat, whether you agree with me or not, come in the chat. Let's talk. Let's talk lore. This is a great way to learn more, so you have more understanding of how all this lore came together, and even how to use it in counters towards Disney shills. Tarkin's personal driver, that speeder must stink like fish. Oh my god. That's so bad. And again, those channel members, you guys become a channel member. this Sunday, 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Dark Forces Listen Party. And it's the third novella, Jedi Knight. So join me. Let's see here. Was Akbar Tarkin's sex slave? Oh my God. So there we go. So yeah, so he, well, I guess you could say was more on the background than anybody else. There was a lot going on because the Empire was xenophobic. Before he became a slave of Tarkin, Akbar basically was, I think, in the Security League as commander for Dak, for his planet. So I didn't write that down, so it's not in front of me, so I apologize. But I know that he was in some type of like security military during the time before he became a slave. But he was also then captured again by Boba Fett. So there's a whole, it's like this guy really went through a lot. But he was the driving force on providing a fleet. And he also was the one who created the B-Wing. So there you go. But let's go ahead and move on. So we have Akbar, we have Garm, Bill Iblis, so we have Mon Mothma, and we have Bell Organa. I won't say Organa Solo, but that's Leia. I'm so used to saying Organa Solo together because of Leia. What? The Empire xenophobic? No, never. And it's so funny that, like Star Wars theory was using Vader and even the Emperor as a moral compass against, sexual assault and all that. I don't know. It's so fucking weird. All right, let's see here. Disney shills are not allowed in. They can all fuck off. All right, so here we go. So we have the big four. Akbar, once the alliance started, was fully formed. He was a pivot. He was a leader, one of the main people. So there we go. I think he gets overlooked a lot. So this is from The Force Unleashed, and I should have put the source titles on the bottom, but I'll tell you now. This is from The Force Unleashed, the art and making of The Force Unleashed. So I did comprise a lot of information from that and have been sharing for like almost a week now on Twitter. So this is from that. The specific concepts were received with mixed enthusiasm by Lucas. The features presented in Star Wars Underworld. So this goes back to Underworld 2. And mind you, these people who are like, oh my God, they shouldn't have this dark theme inside Star Wars, right? Don't understand that Underworld was going to be very, very, very dark, according to George Lucas, which, you never know. We could have seen something like that. But then they get all butthurt over having these dark themes in Star Wars under George Lucas pre-Disney, because it doesn't fit their narrative on getting mad about what Disney Star Wars is doing with Andor. I'm just amazed by this shit, right? All right, starship customization and evolving crew and open-ended mission structure appealed to Lucas, but he recognized a lack of a strong story. Nevertheless, he was comfortable with us moving forward with an idea, confident that a compelling plot could be developed using the Star Wars underworld as a backdrop. Lucas was similarly intrigued by Rise of the Rebellion and approved setting that eventual game between the two movie trilogies. Sorry, I said movie trilogies. He also approved our desire to reveal when, how, and where the Rebel Alliance was born. So basically, they're saying that everything that they're establishing, he said, okay, good. That's what really happened, right? But then they also include the Corellian Treaty. They also include a lot of information from the Weston Games Rebel Alliance. Why? Because George always gave Weston Games source material to those who were developing and creating Star Wars underneath him. And when you see a lot of developers talk or hear them or read how, especially the earlier ones like Zahn and stuff, they will all say, oh, George gave us, they gave us Weston Games to look up to make sure we stay consistent. So we didn't have to go make up things ourselves. We were consistent. And it's all about consistency. Holy shit. What a great thing, right? And this is why everybody, a lot of people got into the EU because it was so consistent. Yes, there was fucking hiccups everywhere. Oh God, I just cussed again. There was hiccups everywhere. And yes, as they grew and expanded, they had to correct and redirect things and all that. But that's just what happens when you have these creatives working together and a few people helping keeping everything aligned. You have to go ahead and go back and correct some mistakes and stuff like that. But overall, this was one continuity and it was beautifully made. And he literally said he would have loved Underworld to happen. Shake my head. The hypocrisy is strong with this one. I know, and that was pointed out even by Ryan Kennel towards Theory. Yeah, there's a story of Lucas getting a little annoyed when he spoke for an hour about the importance of characters for the game developers to recommend a Wookiee game idea. Yeah, he's like, Wookiees, oh my God. So yeah, I've seen that interview. I thought about pulling it up to play it, but that's for another time. I just want to specifically stay in a small area of creation of this, but going into the formation of the lore for the Rebel Alliance. Rick Quinn says, I like my Grizzy, Mr. Grizzy. His intro is the best thing on YouTube. I just dance when it comes on, right? And that's not former. That is one of our Gatekeepers Alliance. And let me see, I don't have the friggin' videos. I need to get the videos up, but here you go. Gatekeepers Alliance. Yep, we have Gatekeepers Alliance in the house too. So, and feel free to subscribe if any one of you mods want to put the link in to the channel. We need to get up to 1,000 and more on the subscription. All right, let me see what you guys are saying. We could have gotten a video game called Episode 7. Disney has largely replaced Garm with Saw Gerrera. At least it feels that way to me. I'm going to have to keep an eye out and see. Here you go. Here you go. All right. Let's see here. The Republic Loyalist and the delegation of the 2000. Now, I regret not pulling up the clip from Revenge of the Sith novelization. I thought about it last night and I didn't do it. So I'm like, damn, I am regretting it now. I would have loved to play this clip for you. And Soul Assassin, I will play that clip of Mod Mothma with Akbar here pretty soon. So I haven't forgotten. So people give credit to this being the first formation of it. And I would say this is the seed of it. This is what was planted, but it hasn't fully fruitioned. It took a very long time because it was important for them to remain undercover, basically in the Senate. And to safeguard their planets, to counter Palpatine's, regulations and everything that he's setting forth. But the secrecy was very, very important to rally a lot of people. But at the time, in the early stages, they really didn't have a lot of planets yet wanting to join. It had to pan out the way it did because the more atrocities the Empire did against planets and their species, the bigger the cause got. So, but these guys are basically, they planted the seed. So they were the Republic Loyalists discussing their options for opposing Palpatine's policies. So they were opposing, they were discussing option for opposing his policies. So this is where the seeds were planted, I guess you can say, but it wasn't formed at all yet because some of the main leaders are not here. Some of them here got killed already. Like Senator Fang or whatever his name is. You get to see, if you read Dark Lord, Rise of Darth Vader, he was basically killed by Vader. He was arrested because he was part of the delegation of 2000. He was arrested and he was basically rescued, and he sought refuge on Alderaan, and Alderaan was seen at the time as a peaceful planet, basically that, that protesters were allowed to go and express themselves and stuff. I highly recommend Dark Lord, Rise of Darth Vader, reading it and getting the gist of like how it gives you an example of how everything started falling to pieces and how long it probably took for everything to fall in pieces for the Rebel Alliance to form. But a lot of these people here are gone, dead, I believe, for some reason, shape, or form. So there's that. We only have like the two main is Mon Mothma and Bail Organa that remain from this. Let me see what you guys have to say. I would honestly like to see the 4-hour cut of Revenge of the Sith, extended Mace's fight with Palpatine, and include all deleted scenes. That would be very interesting. Garm, like Saw, is aggressive extremist compared to Mon and advocated for more militarization. Saw and Mothma, especially in Rebels, fulfill the exact same dynamics, with both even decidedly to split. Okay, I see that. And I did share, and I should have pulled it up, but I did share like 2 weeks ago, maybe. Back in the times right before or right when the Clone Wars was happening, Garm, Bill Iblis, and Corellia backed away out of that. And it's a very interesting HoloNet news report. I should have pulled it up here just to share how badass Corellia is, and the reason why you really don't see Corellia during the Clone Wars and stuff like that. But they backed away and stuff, and closed basically their borders. Imagine that, they closed their borders. So it's very interesting. I'm going to pull that up later on today. So if you follow me on Twitter, I'll retweet that so you guys can read it. But I did share that bit there, and I wish I would have thought about it yet last night or earlier this morning to pull it up to share it here with you guys, just to give more background information on Garm, Bill Iblis, and Corellia and their stance against even the Old Republic during the time frame, because the PT era that we're looking at right here is still Old Republic. So this is right in the dawn of the Empire, the rise of the Empire. So we're still seeing the Old Republic, but this is the more modern days of, I guess you could say, right before the Empire formed. If you want to get into the dynamics of the time frame. Excuse me. All deleted scenes except the Shakti's death ones at once were discarded by Lucas himself in order to bring her back in the Force Unleashed. So a lot of not all, but a lot of the deleted scenes like this one are still in the novel. So they're still basically relevant. And I should have, but this mainly one that we're talking about here. Melissa Lord's in the house. How are you doing? All right. Let's see here. Let's move on. And this continues on. So we're still in the time frame here of the rise of the Empire and stuff. And you could say that Padme is an honorary, I guess you could say, founder. I would say not quite, but she helped plant the seed. And she basically was like, this is awesome, you guys, but I can't be a part of this. That's why I wish I went ahead and prepared the scene in Revenge of the Sith novel for you guys to listen to. So she stepped away because she basically just wanted to have her kid in private and just settle down with Anakin, I guess you can say. But here we go. Vote for Palpatine. Vote for the Empire. Make Mon Mothma vote for him too. Be good little senators. Mind your manners and keep your heads down and keep doing all these things we can't talk about. All those things I can't know. Promise me, Bail. And that's Padme to Bail Organa. So basically, she's like, I can't be a part of this, but you still have my support in a way. And I can't know about him. So there's that little dynamic with her. And notice how this crest behind her head looks similar to the crest here. Foreshadowing, George did it beautifully. He did it beautifully. I have 81 people watching. Thank you for tuning in. And if you're watching on the Twitter side, come over to the YouTube side. Let's see here. An extended cut of all 6 movies would be like 6-episode miniseries. Let's see here. All right. So if you guys want to add anything here, how many of you guys read Revenge of the Sith novelization? Because this right here this information is in there as well. Let me take a drink. All right. So Bail Organa. And I'm just going to refer back because I like to compare and contrast with Disney faux lore, Disney Star Wars. So Bail Organa here, he is a key member. He is one of the ones that planted the seed for this. Let me see if I can find it. I didn't mark my spot in Force Unleashed, but I want to be able to read this without squinting my eyes because I didn't grab my glasses. And you guys all know how that turns out. If I can't fully read something, I'm going to make up something or sound stupid. Let's see here. I'm very nice to myself, ain't I? I know it's towards the beginning of it. Let me see if I can find it. Goodness gracious. Laura, you're usually more well prepared than this, but it's all good. It is all good. And this art and making of Force Unleashed, if you don't have it on your shelf, I highly recommend getting it on the shelf. Getting it on the shelf here. So what do you know about Bail Organa? Well, I'm flipping around to the pages here. Trying to find the exact page. And I wish I could see the page number. Wait, I can? No, that's not it. That's not it. Never mind. So what do you know about Bail Organa? And speaking of, it's rumored that they recasted him. And I forgot who. Sorry. What do you think about that? Him recasting, how it's going to be so different from seeing him in Andor versus seeing him in Rogue One. What do you guys think about that? So let me know in the comments here. Where is it? Damn it. Let's see here. Characters. There we go. Duh, Laura. Cast and characters. These lightsabers here in the concept art are so friggin' amazing. It's so fun to look through this. Just looking for Juno Eclipse. Juno Eclipse. Let me see. Where the heck is it? Shakti. Seeing how Disney wrote Stupid Belle in Kenobi versus reading how cautious he was in Dark Lord is jarring. I fully agree. Oh, here we go. Finally found the page. So what do you think about all of that? What do you think about his portrayal in, like, if you've seen him in Rebels and stuff and other Star Wars media, what do you think about how they honored, quote unquote, honored his character? I won't even say it's honored, but let's see here. Let me see. Whoops. I hate when it moves. Good morning, Nerd Migos. How are you doing? Bail Organa in EU is greater than Disney's Bail Unintentional Snitch Organa's Kenobi show. And again, good morning. I hope you have your CAF. Bail Organa was the biggest Chad during the Imperial era. Kept his involvement with the rebels and him raising Vader's daughter right under 2 Sith Lords' noses. Right. And he did, like, he had to announce her. He had to bring her into under the fold of the council because she was becoming a senator, right? So he had to present her to at one of their banquets and stuff. And that's an interesting read, and it's in the one of the Force Unleashed comics too. That's an interesting read too. Real Bail would never contacted Obi-Wan like in the show, correct? And let's see, EU Bail all the way, not the pathetic fool who lost his adopted daughter so easily in Kenobi. Kenobi bastardized Bail. I mean, Fail Organa. All right, so let's get into this. So I'm just going to read everything here. It's just about his development, what, this character arc in, not character arc, but this concept and what they have to say about it for him. So, Bail Organa. Man, my throat wants to get all harsh now. I hate when that happens. Give me a second. All right. While there are a handful of characters that play a prominent role in the formation of the Rebel Alliance, no one in Star Wars pantheon is more recognized for their contribution to the cause than the senator from Alderaan, Bail Organa. He was more than just a senator, but yes, without question, nearly all of the early story explorations that bubbled to the surface featured both Bail and Princess Leia in pivotal roles, and they usually involve the elder senator at odds with both Palpatine and Vader. As the story began to take hold and the idea of forming the Rebel Alliance in The Force Unleashed was approved by Lucas, Bail's involvement was cemented. Initially, he was to take back seat to his daughter, Leia, but as her role changed, Bail's grew larger and even more important. Blackman wanted to make Bail one of the favorite expanded universe characters, a passionate and brave idealist who was actively aiding the Jedi, including Coda and Shaak Ti. Lucas approved the use of Bail as one of the founders of the Alliance. As Bail appeared in several of the final story's most pivotal moments as a strong-willed, rational, and sympathetic character fully dedicated to ending the tyranny wrought by the Empire. So there you go. That was the focus, not only with these creators of this storyline, but of George Lucas. Openly defiant, so soon into the Empire's existence. I remember one comic had Leia meeting Palpatine. She saw how straight up evil he was. Yes, exactly. And she was like so like taken back by it. Like she's like, I need to get out of here. She was like so shocked about that. And I should have pulled that up here and used it on here. But again, there's a lot of things I could have done, but I just wanted to be more concise on the formation. And yes, she was a pivotal one, but at the time of the formation, she wasn't a full leader just yet. So nothing like what we saw since Disney took over. All right. Let me see what else you guys are saying. I'm going to zoom up here or scroll up. He almost got himself killed in his own show. That can't happen, though, because he has to be in the New Hope, right? Openly defiant as soon. I read that one already. All right. So here we go. So this is Bail Organa. Him in a nutshell, basically something that Disney seems to fail to get the point across. They have bastardized his character. So hopefully you guys see and notice the bastardization, even compared in contrast to this, which Lucas was like, this is who Bail is. Right? All right. So I thought it was very important to put him up here and highlight him as a character because they're failing to have him support and be alongside Mon Mothma. He's still in the Senate here. He's still in the Senate. He should have been like, as far like we know he wasn't involved in the wedding or anything or even invited as a guest. He should have been a guest there. Because at this point, him and Mon Mothma are close. They are close. And I'm going to share this clip here. Let me go ahead and pull it up. They are close. And here you go.
It is settled then. My wealth will fund the rebellion while Garm provides our fleet and Mon Mothma our soldiers.
And now we know that Garm provided the fleet. And yes, Corellia does have their own yards and stuff. But we know too that there was a split up. And Akbar also provided the fleets. He also, like I said, he was a spy. He provided intel, all of that while he was under, I guess you could say, Tarkin in a sense. So that's another thing. And I said, like I said, you know, he is very underrated and overlooked in a lot of aspects. And I find it kind of disheartening in a sense, but it is what it is, right? It's just happened that way. Let's see here. And Disney always makes the entire empire seem evil, sadistic tyrants, and nobody like Fel or Pelion. People just believe in the order and stability, not for personal gains either. It's so weird how they're changing the dynamics. The comic is called First Impression, where Leia meets Palpatine and Vader for the first time. First Impression, you guys. Thank you, Soul Assassin. I got to look up later on what happened to the Corellian Jedi after Order 66. Yeah. If Jimmy Smith is smart, he'll make himself unavailable for that show. He did. The rumor is that they recasted him, and I forgot with who. So if someone could pull that up for me, I forgot who they recasted him with. Let's see here. I bet you the Disney shills don't know what chicken jockey is. It's funny because it mirrors the scene from episode 2 where the heads of the separatists are talking with Dooku about forming a single army. It's like poetry. It rhymes. Should we also talk about Bell housing a Jedi as Leia's tutor? And that is from The Last of the Jedi. That's Orin fellow. What's his name? Ferris Orlin or whatever his name was. Yeah. He was very pro Jedi. And it is even evident when he goes to the temple. Once the temple is under siege in Nightfall, he goes there to see what's going on. And he rescues Yoda. So he's very pro Jedi. He understands the how it is important with the dynamic between the Jedi and the Republic, right? I still remember listening to the radio drama of A New Hope, and the conversation between Bell and Leia just really stuck out to me. And that's another thing too. There's so many sources out there about, you know, Bell with his daughter, all of that. It's amazing. And then Bell is recasted with Jimmy Smits because of money scheduling. Yeah, that's right. So let's see here. Let's move on. Corellia. So this too is still a part of the art making of the Force Unleashed information here. And this just goes into solidify how everything was official when it came to the formation of the Alliance to restore the rebellion. Corellia, when it's time to form officially the Rebel Alliance, the rebellion's potential leaders gather in a central location, except for poor Akbar. He is a prisoner, basically a valet. He is hostage under Tarkin, poor Akbar, in a nod to existing canon. In a nod to existing canon? Existing canon? What? What is this existing canon? Well, it's the overall lore, right? Which establishes the alliance was formed with the signing of the Corellian Treaty. That is also part of the Rebel Alliance Weston Games source book. We set this fateful meeting on Corellia, which is the name of the treaty. In order to create the sense that the alliance leaders were meeting in secret, which we knew that from the beginning, the pivotal scenes take place atop a snowy plateau amid the ruins of an ancient watchtower. Now, this is just the development of the Force Unleashed that is showing that they're keeping continuity with the canon established before it and around it. And when you go back and research and piece everything together, it's well put together. Because they made sure that like all the formation, where and when, and the events that happened before, that it all matches and ties in. There is no canon is the expanded universe, Disney LI. Let me see. That sounded weird to me. But I get what you're saying. I get it. So basically, this is just another evidence of like the synergy of the continuity and everything being included and the special care taken to establish it. Corellia basically is a planet that has oceans and different terrains and stuff like that. I suggest getting the Star Wars Atlas and adding that to your library. It has almost every single planet and their history, and then it also shares historical references for each era of the timeline. Very useful. And I do refer to that to simplify some of the lore talk that I do, because it breaks down like the New Jedi Order. It breaks down Legacy era. It has all of that, and it's amazing. So now let's move ahead. But I do recommend the Atlas. Check it out. Anybody like Soul Assassin or anybody who wants to share a link to where they can find or purchase it. But let me go ahead. Now that we're at Mon Mothma, I want to bring up. Thank you, Soul Assassin. I'm going to share this before we go on with Mon Mothma, and then also sharing that video that that you shared as well. But since we're still talking about Corellia, and before we fully get into Mon Mothma, I think it's important to share this, because getting behind some of these leaders and talking about them is crucial. It's very important to understand their stance and also why they take the stances they do. So this is the Corellia closes borders. Bel Iblis, and it's supposed to be, I think it's B-I-L, but or B-E-L, I'm not sure, but I could have spelled that wrong. Bel Iblis leaves Senate in uproar. Corellians insist it is not succession. Invoke obscure constitutional proviso. Let's see here. So this is what's going on. So this is Bell right here after he makes the statement, and his guards and everybody's escorting him out from the Senate. But he basically did an uproar here. And this is like when the Clone Wars began. Senate Rotunda, Coruscant. The Senate chambers filled with loud outcries of protest. Let me see. Is it showing up on the screen? Yeah. Outcries of protest and dismay yesterday morning following Senator Garm Bel Iblis's surprise announcement that Corellia would close its border and pull out of the Military Creation Act vote. Oh, he aligns with Padme, and he's pulling out. Basically, that didn't sound right. But anyways, Senator Garm Bel Iblis avoids questions from the press after his shocking announcement. The Corellia sector, one of the founding fathers of the Republic, is not succeeding, stressed Bel Iblis. However, Corellia will not participate in what is deemed a profound era that threatens its sovereignty. That's what he says. After the announcement, Bel Iblis and his retinue left the Senate Hall under heavily armed Corsac escorts. Corsac, who do you guys know has been a part of Corsac? Who pushed aside journalists and critical senators. Bel Iblis refused comment. The senator left Coruscant reportedly for Corellia. And there's more to this. Let me see here, make sure I get to the right one. Yeah. As Bel Iblis said, no articles of succession were tendered. As the official record stands, the Corellian delegation enacted an obscure proviso called Contemplanes Hermi. And Olis Coralici, phrase meaning, and I probably butchered the language, but it is what it is, meditative solitude. So they're going into meditative solitude. It is an ancient constitutional clause affording Corellia, recognizing its distinct society and contributions to the founding of the Republic in exchange for giving up veto power. Corellia and its constituencies can unilaterally withdraw from Senate duties for the duration of the contention. The clause has not been enacted in over 450 years since Corellia's ill-fated attempt of independence. The decision comes after a week of closed-door meetings between Bel Iblis and Corellian dictator Shaila Maricope. When the Military Creation Act vote was announced, Corellia was one of its most outspoken critics, both in the Senate and the planetary government officials in Corellia's capital city of Coruscant. Corsac's men and women will not be drafted into Republic service to die on a distant world outside of Corellia's borders, nor will armed forces from other worlds be billeted in our homes. Maricope said in caucus the day following the vote announcement. She later told the sector's leading news net, Corellia Sector Newsfeed, that she would do whatever possible to preserve the integrity of the Corellia for Corellians. Let's see here. Palpatine, who did not attend the eventful Senate session, but was instead on Argyle at a finance conference, was brief in his statement to reporters. I am disheartened to hear that one of our closest brothers lacks such faith in democracy. Others weren't as measured with their statements. This is an outrageous display of self-serving hypocrisy, said a Senator Orrin Free Ta from Ryloth. 2 years ago, Bel Iblis stood before the Senate arguing about the legality of succession and how he goes and pulls a stunt like this. It's a grievous blow to unity. My worlds in the distant outer rims have stood by Coruscant through the most tumultuous of heat storms. That one so integral to the core should lack a spine is shameful. So basically, he went in, flexed, and everybody got pissed. He went in and flexed to protect Corellia, and it pissed off everybody. Bel Organa is really a great character, and Jimmy Smits was perfect to the cast. One of the many great choices by Lucas. Correct. Let's see here. I really want to scare the living crap out of the Disney show. Yes, get your book here. So what do you guys think about this? I really think that Corellia and the Corellians are fucking badass. I'm not going to read the rest of this. This I will retweet on Twitter so you guys can check it out. But basically it shares, Bel Iblis's stance on, back then during even when the Clone Wars began. So, and he has always remained in his stance, even forming the rebellion. In fact, him and Mon Mothma had to go their separate ways because he thought she was forming a dictatorship as well. So that's another story to talk about later. And let's see here. Make Corellia great again. Right? So yeah. So this was a badass stance, you know, and they basically sat and used their own laws and stuff to make a stance. And he's like, this is not succession. This is basically in our rights to basically go into a secluded meditation for the worlds, the system. And basically they closed down borders. So like I said, I'm not going to read all of that. Just got you some responses from what other senators thought about this and stuff like that. But let's go ahead and move on. So much great info. Never question OG. I try to be on top of my shit. I do mess up. Honestly, I do. That Ryloth Center talking big. Be like, shut up, you big bastard. But look what they do to their own kind. I mean, literally, at one point, they allowed their women to go off as sex dance slaves. You know, it is, and Ayla has, if you are privy about her story, you would know a lot of that history behind that. So follow OG on Twitter. Follow Pierce on Twitter. Yes, we provide a lot of information, a lot that you can use, a lot that you can gain knowledge of. And it's like, you know what Palpatine says, use my knowledge, right? Use my knowledge. All right. So back to Mon Mothma. All right. Mothma's first major success occurred in the Corellian system meetings, where she convinced 3 large resistant groups to ally. The Corellian Treaty, written by her and signed by the leaders of the 3 groups, signaled the true beginning of the alliance. In the Corellian Treaty, the resistant groups agreed to work together to overthrow the Empire. They pledged their lives and property to the alliance and swore to fight the battle until the Empire is destroyed, or we are. Very interesting right there. Again, keeping continuity, keeping continuity. Ayla's clothing is not a fashion choice, but her to honor her homeworld culture. Right? Corellia, beer, steers, and starships engineers. Love that. That is crazy. I love that. They love the Corellian ale, the Corellian whiskey. They're not afraid to have a good time. One of the most reserved Corellians is Wedge Antilles, but still he knows how to have a good time. And we've seen it. If you're privy to the comics and his storyline and stuff like that, you'll know what I'm talking about. All right. Sub to Grizzy. Gatekeepers Alliance in the house. Gatekeeper Alliance in the house. Go subscribe to all the channels, including the main hub, Gatekeepers. And to Star Triggered, we need to get the followers up on that end. All right, this is one I need to go ahead and read from the book. So let me go ahead and pull this up. So the formal declaration of the rebellion. So we're getting into the constitution, I guess you could say, of it, if that's what you want to call it. Let me see. So this is the declaration. And here's the main leader groups. I told you I was going to get into this here pretty soon. Main leader groups, not to the delegation of the 2000, Mon Mothma and Bail Organa are the remaining of that, but they are also the ones that kept watering. I'm going to use this analogy. They plant the seed during that time in Revenge of the Sith timeline, right? At the ending of the Clone Wars, the rise of the Empire, they planted the seed. Mon Mothma and Bail are the remaining of it, and they kept watering that seed. Yeah, I'm using that analogy. But anyways, so these are the main resistant groups, group leaders and leaders. Like I said, Gail Akbar, basically circumstances had him removed, but he's also a main leader. So we have the Corellian resistance, Garm-Bel Iblis. We have the Alderanian resistance, Bel Organa. We have Mon Calamari resistance, Gael Akbar. And we have the Trandrillan resistance, Mon Mothma. Let's see here. Until the Empire is destroyed, or we are. If only some Skywalkers understood this concept instead of running like a yellow rat, the sequel might have been different. Oh, you are talking about Disney lore. We're not talking about Disney lore. So we know that that later on, that Skywalker, Luke, never ran. And basically he was the hope of the rebellion in a sense, you know? And we'll get to that. There's a piece in here that I'm sharing towards the end of this that we're going to get into, and I'll go back to that. So kind of good timing, because, you know, this is amazing conversation with you guys because you are touching bases on things that I'm going to touch bases on in a little bit in this PowerPoint and in our conversation about the lore. In Donald Trump voice, make real Star Wars great again. Oh my God, that's hilarious. Corellians make your best friends or worst enemies. Correct. You don't want to fuck with Corellians. You don't. And a lot of them, majority of them, I guess you could say, made great pilots. A lot of them joined the resistance. We have the exception of a certain Solo and his faction that was anti-Republic, resistance, all of that. And that's Straken Sal Solo. So he has his history there. And it all goes into even him being one of the founders of the Peace Brigade in the New Jedi Order. Crazy, crazy shit. Crazy shit. All right. So let's get into this. Formal declaration of rebellion. We, the beings of the Rebel Alliance, do this day send forth this declaration to His Majesty, the Emperor, and to all sentient beings in the galaxy to make clear to all the purposes and goals of this rebellion. Yeah, Draken was a bitch or a prick. We firmly acknowledge the importance and necessity of the institution of the galactic government, except that must subjugate themselves to that government, giving up certain rights and freedom in return for peace, prosperity, and happiness for all. We believe that the galactic government derives its power and rights to rule from the consent of the governed. We believe that should the rights of free beings be willfully and malignantly usurped, it is the unalienable rights of said beings to alter or abolish said government. We believe that the Galactic Empire has willfully and malignantly usurped the rights of the free beings of the galaxy, and therefore it is our unalienable rights, to abolish it from the galaxy. Inalienable rights. We do not take this course lightly. Governments long established should not be changed for light and transient causes. But when a government displays a history of usurpation, abuse, and moral atrocity, displaying a clear design to subjugate totally and absolutely beings born free under the auspices of nature, it is our right or our duty to dispose that government. The history of the present galactic empire is of repeated injuries upon its members, with the direct objective of establishing you, Emperor Palpatine, as absolute tyrant over the galaxy. Wow. She's hitting it hard here. You have disbanded the Senate, the voice of the people. You have instituted a policy of blatant racism and genocide against non-human peoples of the galaxy. You have overthrown the chosen rulers of planets, replacing them with moths and governors of your choice. You have raised taxes without the consent of those taxed. You have murdered and imprisoned millions without benefit of trial. You have unlawfully taken land and property. You have expanded the military far beyond what is necessary and prudent for the sole purpose of oppressing your subjects. We, the Rebel Alliance, do therefore, in the name and by the authority of the free beings of the galaxy, solemnly publish and declare our intentions to fight and oppose you and your forces by any and all means at our disposal, to refuse any imperial law contrary to the rights of free beings, to bring about your destruction and the destruction of the galactic empire, to make forever free all beings in the galaxy. To these ends, we pledge our property, our honor, and our lives. She hit it hard here. And this is basically how it began. Palpatine, please, enough flattery. You're making me blush. Oh my God. And just to be a fly on the wall when that is being declared, like in lore, just like seeing all this, or being there, just basically being there as this is presented to him. The Commie Hollywood Union said they'd burn Disney's legacy down. Looks like they have succeeded. I try to take the piss out of Den of Nerds by saying that Darth Melvin is watching him, and it didn't work. Damn it. Let's see here. This literally is a modification of the preamble. The commie Disney fans wholeheartedly reject the lore. They do. They do. Wow, it almost sounds like the preamble to the Declaration of Independence. I don't hear any Jane Fonda Vietnam quotes here. I can, yes. My throat is kind of congested a little bit. I don't know. It's that time of year when allergies happen and shit, but who cares? I'm here. All right. Palpatine, don't serve your kind here. Don't serve your kind here. Yeah, so basically this is it right here. So when you watch A New Hope, you're going to get a more maybe a more advanced look at the Rebel Alliance as they're fighting for justice and peace, equal rights, all of that. No taxation without representation, right? Fascinating. Yes, Nerdmigos, I agree. So now you're going to get a whole new perspective, like even if when you watch A New Hope and stuff. Amazing shit, right? Amazing shit. Smash like button. So here we go. So here is basically, I wanted to share every single part of the formation of the Rebel Alliance, like their military force, their fleet, battle line, all of that. But I decided not to. I wanted to do the different organizations and how under all their structures. But we would be here all day. Like the fleet command, like the Alliance high command structure, all of that. But I just decided to share this. They have the Alliance intelligence, the chief of intelligence, intentions, operations, counterintelligence, and so forth. So, but I highly recommend this book, but I wanted just to give the political structure here. And this is where, Bill Iblis basically was like, she's establishing a dictatorship. And so he was very cautious with this because he didn't want her to end up being another Palpatine. And eventually he did leave. When I think the New Republic was, or maybe even before then. I didn't get exact dates of when Bill Iblis left, but he did. They had to part ways because we weren't agreeing on certain terms and stuff like that. I bet Garm wanted to take control of the rebellion. He wanted to make sure that no one became another emperor. So this alliance structure, Chief of State Mon Mothma, and then there's advisory council. So the advisory council basically was comprised of representatives of the 7 allied governments who have given the most lives to the battle against the emperor. So these are the main people, and they stepped up. They stepped up to kind of keep the balance and the person who is the chief of state in this formation in line. And then under there is the cabinet, the Minister of Finance, Education, State, Industry, War, Supply. Then you have the Allied Command, which is 4. And then the Allied Command basically consisted of the chief executive. And then they have their finance, education, state, industry, war, and so on. And, we have there's that structure. And it goes like, if you get the source book, it goes into breaking down every single pieces of those branches. And then, of course, it gets into the alliance intelligence, all of that, which is very, very cool to look up and stuff. But I just wanted to give a little brief glimpse of like how the structure is. So going into this now, this goes into like, we're ending the lore talk here with the formation of the Rebel Alliance. But I wanted to go ahead and share this, and then the next one, and then Mon Mothma's reply. So this is the prologue, the growing rebellion, and this is to Mon Mothma from our whole Hextrophin, probably butchered that. And this is the security status is top secret. Regarding report on growth, organization, equipment, activities, and objectives of the rebellion. So they did do audits and stuff like that. They did try to keep themselves accountable as much as they could. And when you look at Andor, Mon Mothma they're fucking destroying her character so much that I think that basically she sold her daughter to a marriage or something like that. Correct me if I'm wrong, those who know it more than I do, but that's what I got from season 1. There's so much that they're getting wrong with her that it doesn't even seem like the Mon Mothma that we're talking about here. And I want to break this down. I want to do a compare and contrast, but I'm just patiently waiting for Andor season 2 to end. So I see where they take her when it comes to the formation of the Rebel Alliance. So Mon Mothma, my office has completed the report you commissioned, compiling all known information concerning the Rebel Alliance from its earliest beginnings. In its entirety, this report is 168,000 DSUs in length and takes over 700 hours to read, assuming a rather high reading rate of the data screen unit per 15 seconds. So this basically is like, here's your extensive report. Therefore, because we will be using the material to organize a briefing manual for incoming officers of the Alliance, I asked my most trusted assistant, Vorin Naal, to prepare a condensed summary of the report, which can be read in much shorter time. I send you now the summary. If you wish a copy of the extended version, one will, of course, be sent to you immediately. Here's one bullet point here. The first section concerning the birth and growth of the Alliance is somewhat sketchy and incomplete due to the number of losses we suffered when Alderaan was destroyed. And the fact that you are one of the only people who has been with the Alliance since the beginning. We only had a small pool of sources to interview for background formation. However, the intelligence and the underground network section is better documented. Bullet 2. The remainder of the report examining the military structure, vehicles, troop types, support services, and recruitment and training of the rebellion is concise and complete. My men have spent thousands of man hours inspecting firsthand reports from Alliance Army, Navy, and intelligence personnel to come up with the information contained herein. Now, a quick glimpse back to Akbar. Akbar basically comprised the training manuals and stuff like that for the Rebel Alliance and the New Republic. Just a little bit known facts here. In conclusion, considering the short time allotted for the creation of this report and the difficulty of contracting primary sources without lifting the veil of secrecy, our committee has done an exceptional job. Vor Naal is a fine historian, and I am sure the material contained in the report will be satisfactory for your needs. Respectfully, our whole Hexotrophin. So basically, that's another glimpse into the formation of the rebellion and how they kept themselves accountable within their own structure, which then helped them. And it was a big feat to form the New Republic. I'll give you that. Again, all of this is also included in the X-Wings novels of the formation of the New Republic, and you can even look it up with the source books and everything else. All right, so basically, this is some of their propaganda that they helped recruit people after Alderaan. And remember Alderaan. So basically, they use this to bring more people into the Rebel Alliance, which helped them out significantly because they are a very small group. If you get into the New Jedi Order, they talk about how big the Rebel Alliance was and how they were tactically able to destroy the Empire as big as it was. So there's talk about that regarding the Yuuzhan Vong. So that is another thing here. So the Rat Attack, Infinite Empire got mentioned when they introduced the statue. Remember the Alderaan, right? So we're going to start concluding here, and then we'll get into the cringe factor, and then we'll part our ways. And so here's the last bit here. I think it's the last one. Yeah. And I like this propaganda poster. It's pretty cool. Okay. Afterward, a legacy of our children. A legacy for our children. So this is back to our Hall by Mon Mothma, and basically it's top secret regarding your magnificent report on the rebellion. My dear friend, I thank you and your office for your brilliant efforts to compile this report. With few words, you have described our struggle in a way that takes my breath away, showing the great courage and determination of the free peoples of the galaxy for all to see. You are our Hull, know how little I have to do with this rebellion and how much I owe it to others, famed and unknown, living and dead. This great struggle is a people's struggle. So she basically humbles herself. She humbles herself and gives credit to everybody who contributed, known, famous, or not. This great struggle is a people's struggle, a struggle between the strong and the weak, the rich and the poor, the cruel and the gentle. You have shown our struggle to everyone, and for that I thank you. You have
created a legacy for our children so that even if we fail, they too shall know. As you and a few others know, I am not sanguine about the outcome of our rebellion. We have hurt the empire and badly at Yavin, and our organization is growing stronger everywhere. But the emperor grows stronger too. Sometimes when I cannot sleep, I can feel him out there in the night, brooding over his evil, feeding on the very life of the galaxy. He is terrible, malignant, and cunning, and so strong. I fear him. I do not know if I have the power to beat him. I do not know if anyone can. In my dreams, I see a young man, a boy really, fighting the Emperor and Vader. He's alone and in such pain. Somehow, I know that all of our efforts ride on his thin shoulders, and against those two, he cannot stand. He cannot. I wake up from those dreams shaken and very afraid. Who do you think she might be referring to, you guys? In her dream, she sees a young man, a boy, standing up and fighting against Vader and the Emperor. Who do you think she is dreaming about? And this is before Return of the Jedi. Oh, well, what will be, will be. We will continue the fight. And if mortal beings can, we can win. And if not, what did you tell me so long ago when it all began? You said, if we fail, the galaxy will tremble at our passing. I've always liked that. And if we fail, the galaxy will tremble at our passing. The force be with you, my friend. Respectfully, Mon Mothma. And so there you go. The formation of the rebellion, and then basically the first outcome after Yavin. And I would love to share more lore on this. Like I said, the next one will be about the Death Star. So we'll take one more pause in the New Jedi Order lore talk and go to the dynamics about retrieving the Death Star plans, Operation Skyhook. So if you want to share anything else, please do so. Let me go ahead and pull up that video that I keep on promising, and then we'll get on to the next topic. And that is cringe factor. That is cringe factor. Let's see here. Oh, and you sent Revenge of the Sith episode, that one cutscene. I see. Thank you. Okay, let me go ahead and pull this up. This is supposed to be a parody, it looks like, from Adult Swim. Oh my God. Okay, work with me now. All right. Oh, Lord. Dude. Oh my God. Okay. The screen doesn't want to work with me. I'm scared. You should be. Okay. Here we go.
I'll have the calamari.
Wow, I guess I'll have the insensitive bitch with.
Oh, damn. Thank you so much for that. Stop screen. Hey, Matt Wilkins is showing up on my Disney's Path to the Dark Side. I don't know if you guys hear that, but you know how sometimes you get recommended videos that play right after? That was Matt Wilkins. Hello. Anyways, it is Robot Chicken. Yes. All right. Let me take a drink here. So this next one here, are you guys ready? Because I am. And then we're going to play this game. Do you guys still want to play the game? Or maybe we'll do it next time. I forgot all about the game, but let's go ahead and pull up this article. Let's see here. And with the game, what I was going to have us do is I'm the wheel, and I would spin the wheel, and whatever it lands on, you have to try to beat. So whoever gets beaten, whoever loses does not play the game anymore. They just have to watch. And then so whoever wins in this situation will get a copy of my painting, if that makes sense. So like if I'll say, okay, you guys choose either rock, paper, scissors, write it in the chat. And then if you lose, I trust you to not participate after that. And then whoever is the last one standing wins. Could do the game for gatekeepers, right? All right, who's left? Are you shitting me? All right, but with this, we're going to get to this article. So if you want to do it, we can do it before we end here just for something fun. If not, it's just a thought. I just thought I would do it just to kind of like laugh at Andor and stuff like that and just be silly. But let's get into this. Let's get there. Andor's creator explains the shocking assault scene. We are all a product of rape. Tony Gilroy on what that sexual assault attempt against an undocumented fugitive. Now, see, like I said, people are blowing up the scene of her fighting off her aggressor, basically. They're blowing that up, but they're forgetting to look at all the ham-fisted political views that are being modern today political views that are being added to this show, and how everybody's like, oh, it's like real life, I can relate. Well, that wasn't George's point. He took themes and used them, but didn't do it like this. But let's move on. Disney's acclaimed Andor, so yeah, they acclaimed it, but not many people do, has stretched the creative boundaries of Star Wars in countless ways, bringing a grown-up sensibility to the galaxy far, far away. All right, what do you guys think about that? I mean, we already seen Star Wars in a grow-up sensibility pre-Disney. Can you name some of the lore pertaining to that? Hi, babe. Yet even the Andor standards, a scene from the second season is leaving fans shocked, and an Imperial officer tries to violently rape. No, well, that's the gist, but it never happens. A rebel fugitive, Bix, who is hiding out in a farming settlement while Imperial troops are rounding up undocumented citizens. Okay. The sequence plays out over the course of the show's third episode, with the officer's flirtation with Bix turning ground increasingly persistent and eventually culminating with a brutal life and death struggle. Bix eventually gets the upper hand and the officer is killed. So again, there's no nudity, there's no rape scenes whatsoever. It's a fight scene. She's basically fighting him off, and that's what happens. But Andor boldly leaves zero ambiguity as to what viewers just witnessed as Bix screams, "He tried to rape me." Star Wars is a franchise that has never in film form shown even consensual sex during its first season. Andor pushed the envelope with scenes that suggested sex, which that has taken place before in the lore, pre-Disney. So that I spoke about too, and I think I did a video on that as well. When asked about the Bix scene, Andor creator Tony Gilroy explained to the Hollywood Reporter that when telling a story about a war, shying away from sexual assault didn't feel truthful. So this is what he says about that. What do you guys think? What do you guys think? I'm going to see what you guys are saying here before I read on. They only did it because it's the only way they can get the spotlight. Pure shock value, correct. Fools getting all worked up over nothing, correct. He wanted the power of many, her door. Let's see here. Space them all. Let the Force sort them out. I could relate to the story about the galaxy far, far away that happened a long time ago. Damn, modern audiences have no brains. Correct. Anakin was burnt alive. Yes, he was. The officer wanted to power of one that chick, undocumented, a little on the nose in real life, don't you think? And that's the thing. That's my point. They are forgetting, these people who are all so high strung about that scene fails to see what's really happening. All right, so who left? Okay, there we go. Caught up. Let's see here. I think he's a retard. I've seen all these words and that are probably getting me struck on this channel, on my channel, but who cares? So here's what he has to say, quote unquote, from Tony himself. I get one shot to tell everything I know or can discover, or that I've learned about revolution, about battles, with as many incidents and as many colors as I can get in there without having the story tip over, he said. I mean, let's be honest, man. The history of civilization, there's a huge arterial component of it that's rape. So he's saying there's a huge arterial component of it that's rape. Of all of us who are here, we are all a product of it. I mean, armies and power throughout history have committed rape. So to not touch on it in some way, it just was organic and it felt right. Coming about as a power trip for this guy, I was really trying to make a path for Bix that would ultimately lead to clarity, but a difficult path to get back to clarity. So there you have it. He was like, human, all of us are a product of the rape. And that's his excuse as well. Yes, war has its brutalities. War does have its darkness. And that is included in it. And we have seen this before in Star Wars. Even outside of war in Star Wars, like in the underworld type atmosphere and stuff. But to gaslight or to say, oh, well, humankind is a product of rape, to justify what he's doing is fucking crazy. Is crazy as hell. Freaking critical theory, neo-Marxist BS. The power of many. He should have given her an anime schoolgirl uniform complete with school swimsuit. Well, he failed that because the buzz around the attempted rape completely took over any discourse around the story. Because everybody took extreme. They got so bent out of this. And then they got further bent when people like me was like, this happened before. Now, it's not justifying the decisions here, really. But in reality, like in the Star Wars lore, it's happened before. And it was never, even by people who read the comics, read the stories, what have you, even played, I think, Sator or something. Someone shared with me something like where shit like this happened, the Stark themes like this happened in the Old Republic. So Assassin, correct me if I'm wrong, but someone did share a video pertaining to similar scenarios. It's in the lore. And yes, he is right. It's one of the disgusting things that happens during wartime. But could he have told it more intelligently? Could it have been done in a different way? Or what? I don't know, but this is not extreme. This is similar to the tank scene where in the Imperial / Rebellion comics, it's like the story blends in from the Imperial comics into the Rebellion comics. So the story does. But Luke's friend, and his last name is Sunbar, and his nickname is Tank. I forget his first name. I'm sorry. He joins the Imperial Navy, And but he still is like conflicted in a way of seeing how the Empire is handling certain species and certain ideals and stuff like that. Well, one of the Imperial officers, and they're holding these slaves, and they're human slaves. Yes, slaves were human in Star Wars too, but the majority were aliens, and this is where I think Andor is getting it wrong. They should also share the plight of the alien races in Star Wars. Humans, one of the alien races, but the non-humans is what I mean. To show how diverse the alliance is when it formed, they're failing on that completely. But going back to Tank's story, an Imperial officer grabs a slave woman and says, "I'm going to go have fun." Basically, I'm paraphrasing. He doesn't say that. And he takes her to another room. Tank witnesses and follows and rescues her. The act has not happened at all. And it shares how his conflict is with his choices and stuff. Good storytelling in that comic. Really good storytelling in that comic. No, I'm not saying rape is acceptable, what have you. But when you put it in a dark theme scenario, it needs to make sense. It needs to have value on the story. And just because George didn't share this dark theme in the movies doesn't mean he wasn't going to later on. And when this is getting back to Underworld, we could have well seen scenarios like this in Underworld. He hinted about telling stories, dark themes like this for Underworld. But he shared the dark themes very similar when it came to Return of the Jedi and all of that. So with that being said, let's go ahead and see what else is said here. Okay, it says, asked about Disney's reaction to the scene, Gilroy says he didn't get any studio pushback. No, and he quote unquote, he says, no one ever said anything about it ever. But I mean, we have limits on what we can do. We are very aware of what we can do sexually and violence wise. Those limits are made very clear. And I'm not trying to fucking defend any of this. But there were limits to pre-Disney. And that's why you never even seen sexual scenes, whether it is bad or good. There was the foreshadowing or like events after. Like when you see Darth Talon and Cade Skywalker, she seduces him. They do have sex, but it's not shown, but it shows afterwards. He's sleeping, she's getting up and leaving, right? And there's other scenes that are in the comics and stuff. There is scenes of Anakin and Padme in was it Revenge of the Sith? Am I wrong? Yeah, no, it's in Revenge of the Sith, where he is awakening and from a dream and stuff. Or was it Attack of the Clones? But anyways, they're in bed together, but you know things had happened because it led to her getting pregnant. So this is basically the same thing in a sense of attempted, she fights him off, nothing happens. She defends herself, kicks his ass, story's done. And so crazy that I have to be here justifying what is being created in Star Wars past and present, according to this damn fucking story, right? It's a nothing burger, but I do not like the fact that he basically is like, oh, well, we are all a product of it, to justify where he's going with the story. He could have worded it completely different, but it is what it is. It happened the way it happened. Let me see here. He must have a heterosexual wizard as a rival clan in the Scissorfist Witch clan. Let's see here. We get it. You are a deranged idiot that can't see past his own cataracts. So are you talking about Gilroy? Let me see. Pretty long answer to say I did it as a political statement. Right. One of the biggest problems with that show, what most with the creators and media, is this annoying insistence on being the first to do things in the franchise when it's simply not true. Right. And that's what they do all the fucking time. All the time, to make themselves look like they're fresh, new, and edgy, which they're not. Well, bend them more. Let's see. Leia was put in a bikini by a space lug. We all know this kind of stuff happens, but this was pretty inorganic and feels more like a weird outlet. And with that, in the novelization of Return of the Jedi, Jabba allows her to be handed around, but the first person that she is in contact with is Boba Fett. He respectfully declines and says that he doesn't do that sort of thing, rape, and he keeps her in his chambers and he allows her to sleep on his bed. So if it wasn't for him being the first person that Jabba hands her off to, who knows what would happen? That is the novelization. That is from George's scripts. And I believe even Revenge, or even not Revenge, geez, I'm stuck on Revenge, even Return of the Jedi, their novels came out before the movie. Let's see here. And that basically Disney Star Wars in general, they always claim to be the first. Oh, I already read that one. Implying grape jelly is one thing, but visually depicting it is another. That's not the place for that. Yeah, exactly. But it didn't happen, Melissa. There was no visually depicted grape jelly. I'm gonna look at grape jelly in a whole different way now, sister. Let's see here. Andor is racist to aliens. They don't use it to expand the story. He's just taking the metaphor and making it literal in a hammer to the face. Correct. I agree. Damn grifters. Drama grifters. George heavily implied Anakin offering younglings, but didn't actually show it. Right. And let's see here. And they think they are all smartest person in the room. Zero street smarts. Let's see here. I know there was a massacre on Cathar caused by the Mandalorians during the early years of the Mandalorian War. And then it says, that's what I told OG when I read some of the comments debating her. Yes, true. I didn't disagree with ever bringing it into focus, but Tony's reasoning is really wonky. Yeah, I agree. And that's why we're reading this article. It is really like fucking stupid, crazy. This is not how you get people to watch your show. It's not. And just like I say with the inclusion of diversity, like the LGBT type characters, when when Lucasfilm pre-Disney did it, it was organically. And I'm going to say this with this dark theme here. It was organically. None of Lucas or his officials were putting out public statements to justify what they were doing or what they are going to do. None of that. It was organically done. Just like Boba Fett's wife being raped and Boba Fett killing her rapist. Yes, I'm just full on saying it. I already said it so many times. If this gets demonetized, so be it. But anyways, that was a story that was crucial to their relationship, what happened between them, their lore, her lore, all of that. But no one fucking complained either. Interesting how all of a sudden this nothing burger is getting complained about now because it's hate towards Disney Star Wars. I get being pissed off at what Tony Gilroy says here. Honestly, I do, because this is shitty for him to say. But in reality, it's just amazing how it's okay one way, and then in another instance it's not. This is not the stance we fucking take when we're fighting this quote unquote culture war, right? Just like with the EU. Don't pick and choose when it's convenient for you to fucking use in this quote unquote culture war. So Pierre says he was trying to get it on with Padme after the Battle of Coruscant in public. Not here, Annie. Right? She's like, wait, hold on. Okay, let me see. I didn't read that one yet. Both Leia and Gilroy and Cade Talon happen as part of the story in more organic matter. Yeah, and I think people need to like calm their fucking tits and sit back and look at the bigger picture. Pre-Disney versus Disney. You could say pre-Disney, everything was done more organically for the story and all of that versus how it's being done now. And I have 95 beautiful people watching, listening here on Twitter. Thank you so much for participating and listening. Come to the chat if you want to say anything pertaining to the subject. It's fine. Biggest problem with the show isn't Star Wars. It isn't Star Wars. Right. G Cannon. Yeah, he's not a closeted homosexual, that's for sure. Come on. There we go. Boba refused Jabba's gift, but sending her back would have been an insult to Jabba. Correct. But also saved her. In reality, it also saved her from being passed to another person. Isn't that crazy? Dude, it gets me all the fucking time. I have to make fun of myself for all my incorrections and shit. Bobo don't tolerate that mess. He doesn't. Subscribe to Raging Rhino. Yes. And people say us gatekeepers are extreme. No, we use logic and lore. That's correct. We do. We also hold the same position consistently. We have, and we do. Shields on both sides. Correct. Princess Leia never screamed out loud. He tried to make me a sex slave. No need to make Star Wars literal. Well, I mean, George was very clear about showing and telling, but also showing a lot more. He has those beautiful quiet scenes where it just, you don't need words, right? You don't need words. And those are fucking amazing scenes, which Disney has failed to do too. Yeah, but I think her saying it is what really pissed people off as well, even though the act never happened. And even, he advanced on her and she stopped him. Yeah, and he was going to take her. She stopped him. Caught Theory lying to Ryan yesterday. He hinted Cade was in Legacy of the Force, not Legacy Comics. He lied so many fucking times in that conversation with Ryan. It is unbelievable. And it's unbelievable how people still fucking believe him. All right, Sir Calda, thank you for hanging out. We're going to start closing the show down too, so I can get busy with my life here and see if I can catch my friend before she goes to work and go to the bank, all of that fun stuff, and get me some lunch. Silver Org says, so they did a press release that says they are going to do something they don't do just to get outrage views. That is why I don't watch Disney Star Wars nor review streams. I give them zero attention. I agree. But I do, because I do a lot of compare and contrast, and because I discuss it and compare it to real Star Wars, I have to stay up to date on some shit, but I go and do my research. I don't watch and stuff like that. I ask people who have. I watch people's reviews of them, both positive and negative. The positive can be so cringe. But anyways, and something called common sense. Yes. All right, I'm going to round this up now. If you haven't become a channel member, get to it. This Sunday, 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, Listen Party, Dark Forces, Jedi Knight. We have so much fun there. We listen and we communicate in the chat, talk about the lore of the novel, the lore surrounding it. It's so much fun, you guys. It's just a great way to meet up and get this Disney nonsense out of our head and connect to the real, authentic Star Wars. Using logic and lore is extremely extreme for fake fans and tourists. I agree. All right, Leia and Han were in a shootout, and Han reached into her Jedi robes to find something. Han, we don't have time for this. Han smiles. Right, and that's in Tatooine Ghost. Do you do lore? That is different. Yeah, right. All right. So thank you guys for hanging out. I guess we won't play the game. Maybe we'll do it later, maybe. But I thought it would have been fun just to explore that game and just have a chance for you guys to win a copy. Maybe I will do it later on. And whoever wins, the last person standing, will receive a print of my Anakin painting or my Darth Vader painting. I may make up Monday stream tonight before Casual Rage, but work isn't cooperating with me. Damn. Okay. Well, if you do, I will share the link on Twitter. And again, Raging Rhino Casual Rage is tonight. So you're going to hear more about this topic. I'm pretty sure. I think he watched the first 3 episodes. I think he did. So stay tuned for that conversation as well. Go check it out. No spacing shows as of right now. So Fridays is no spacing. However, stay tuned for the spacing of the week. Wait till you see who that is. It's going to be very interesting. All right. Rhino loves pain. He sure does. And, it's fun to watch. Shout out to Raging Rhino, one of my cool friends. I always think that maybe eventually I get to meet every single one of our Gatekeepers Alliance and all of them, including Rhino. He was asked, but he just doesn't have time to be part of the show. But I guess you could say he's honorary. But yes, feel free to go subscribe to Rhino, go put on notifications for the show for tonight, just so you can know when it's going live in your area, your time zone. And again, watch our listen party this Sunday, 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, channel members and my mods. If you haven't become a channel member, you can do it anytime before then. The link will be up probably by tonight. Sorry that I don't have it up yet, but that link will be up. So all you have to do is go and register and receive the link to the listen party and participate when it's time. Come and go when you can. Listen, you don't have to talk in the chat, but I highly recommend create a conversation in the chat about the lore, and just to even joke and have fun about things and stuff. Great time. Gatekeepers Alliance. Feel free to go subscribe to all of the Gatekeepers Alliances as well. So thank you guys again for tuning in. Let me go ahead and play Vector Prime because we are going back to New Jedi Order next Thursday. So here you go.
I had fought the worst of all wars and witnessed the redemption of evil. I have seen balance restored to the Force. But order can turn to chaos, as it did when I was born. Now, with my loved ones and my loyal allies, I face a new challenge unlike any before. And I'm not sure this time we can win.
Star Wars Vector Prime by R.A. Salvatore, the first novel of the New Jedi Order.
It is settled then. My wealth will fund the rebellion while Garm provides our fleet and Mon Mothma our soldiers.
All right. And thank you guys again for always coming back, hanging out, talking lore. I appreciate every single one of you. If you're catching the replay, thank you so much for hanging out with me, and leave comments below as well. I would love to hear your view on the topics that we talked about today. And again, as always, have a great day and may the Force be with you. Talk to you.
Another happy landing.